Firewatch. Local developers Campo Santo finally released their inaugural game.
Yeah, much anticipated.
Very much so. It seems to have been previewed at a bunch of events for years and years. We finally got to play it. Scott, you reviewed it. 7 out of 10 on GameSpot.com.
Yes.
Good, but not great.
Basically, yeah. There are certain parts of the game that are like a 9 or a 10 that are just something I've never seen in games before that are beautifully executed. And just the writing and really the characters are unlike anything that I've ever played. And really kind of only directing the relationship between the two main characters is something you could kind of only do in a game. And having the control and the ability to sort of shape this dynamic and to this really thoughtful insight into the way that a meaningful relationship is formed is really just special. It really is. Unfortunately, not all of the game is quite as special as that relationship, and it kind of stumbles in certain ways. So yeah, ultimately, it landed at a 7. I feel like that score suggests like, it's okay, when really it's like, no, there are things that are really great.
It does a lot of stuff really good.
And there are things that aren't so good, and it just kind of balances out and ends up being a 7 in the end. So hopefully people who are interested still give it a chance, because I really did enjoy it a great deal.
Yeah, seems super unique. Like I guess that we had Steve Gaynor in a couple of weeks ago and we were talking about the rise of the walking simulator and whatnot.
Sure.
This seems like it's be a bit reductive to say it's like Gone Home, but it's quite linear. Is that right, Mary? You completed it last night, right?
Yeah, I just finished it, and I would actually compare it very much to Gone Home.
Really?
Yeah,
I think it's fair.
In the sense that this is it's got a destination. You can't deviate too much from it. You're going to get to an end result, but the way you experience your character and the way you interpret other characters is up to you. And so it's about taking the narration, the narrative, and deciding what kind of person you are. Who are you playing?
Because you're making choices, right? Like there's the sort of the demo we've seen a lot of, which is you come up with the girls in the pond, and do you like throw their stereo in the pond, or do you just shout at them, or do you just turn it off? Those decisions, do they make meaningful impacts, Mary?
Not that I found, and I think that's I'm being a little vague on purpose.
Yes.
Because this is a short game, and I don't want to ruin it for anyone. But as vague as I can say, I felt that most of my decisions didn't really change anything, and that can maybe upset people. But then you can take a step back and reflect on it and realize that the things that you take away with are, the person you played as and the people that you talked to and what that meant to you.
Right.
And that, like Scott said, it's very powerful, like the relationship. And that has to tremendous writing and really good acting.
Right.
The voice acting is
so
pretty
good.
spectacular.
And you love them.
Just so much
They're funny.
nuance and just these little inflections in the way lines are delivered. You can really read a lot into the way things are said, just the tone and just these subtleties in the way lines are delivered. It's really, really brilliant. And we are kind of attempting to do the impossible by talking about this game at all on day of release, because it is relatively short and it is extremely story driven. So even talking about it broadly almost feels like a spoiler. Like in the review, I talk about how I felt like the central mystery doesn't totally pay off, and even that to me almost feels like a spoiler in a way,
right?
Even though that's not specific at all, but
I know what you mean. Yeah, when any game this small, any sort of nod in any direction is a giveaway. So let's maybe reel it back from the story stuff. You guys have explained it very well. Let's talk about the stuff we don't mind about spoiling. Technical issues. So I want to ask Mary in a second, because she's fresh off the boat when it comes to this. You played it last week, and you had some problems on PC, on PS4.
Correct, less so on PC. And Josh Shaw as well. Josh Shaw, one of our video editors, that also played the game and also experienced the same problems that I had. I mean, like I described it in the review, persistent, minor but persistent. So nothing that's really going to break the game for you, but stuff that is like a little annoying. Specifically on PS4, the one problem that persisted through the entire game was anytime we hit like a new section of the map or the game was auto-saving, you would notice there was a noticeable frame rate stutter.
Oh, really?
So the game would kind of chug for about a second, and then things would be fine. But in a game that's all about immersion and atmosphere, it kind of takes you out of the experience when every couple minutes it's like, oh, okay, there's the load icon. It's okay. So it would have been really nice if that hadn't been the case. Doesn't happen nearly as often on PC. Still happens sometimes, and PC kind of has its own issues.
Yeah.
Also had a couple crashes. I mean, Josh's game crashed 3 times, I guess. Mine crashed twice. So I mean, again, it's not it's not the end of the world. I didn't really lose much progress, but. Yeah, it's just something worth noting if you're getting into the game. And hopefully Mary had a better experience than I did.
I played
nothing
it
ruinous, but it was just worth noting.
I played it on PC, 0 crashes and maybe like a few stutters that didn't really bother me, and which is really good for my experience because you're right, it's incredibly immersive and it's so beautiful. And there are these long stretches where you're just walking through the woods,
Which is fine,
and it's
'cause
so
it's
beautiful.
beautiful.
And that's a huge part of it, right? Is that you're just walking through the woods, thinking about stuff, you know?
Yeah, feeling feelings and thinking thoughts.
And slowly and surely, music builds in the background and comes up. Thinking music, you know?
Yeah.
And so you're just walking in the woods thinking
living
about
in a
your
Bob
life.
I feel
Ross
like I've done
painting.
this. Like I'm playing The Long Dark, and then The Witness came out. I feel like walking through beautiful woods is like the way of 2016 already.
I mean,
Absolutely.
It's a few games so far for sure. Yeah. So
All right, let's get right down to it. Obviously, you guys, the reviews on the side, both of you seem to have enjoyed it quite a lot. Is this a game do you think people should pick up straight away? It's $19.99. Normally on Steam, it's $17.99 at the moment, 10% off. Launch week, probably launch window sale. Mary, what did you think? Was it worth the time? How much time did you spend on it? And
I actually
does
burned
that
through
matter?
it. Yeah.
You burned through it?
Burned through it.
I did.
Firewatch. Sorry, it's number 2 on the show.
I didn't do that on purpose.
We've got Fire Emblem coming up next, so the fire puns are still
It's a
coming.
hot show.
Oh my God.
So sorry. Really, really sorry. Anyway,
I burned through it in like 3.5, 4 hours, which is really quick.
Okay.
But I really did enjoy those hours. I don't think this game is for everyone. And I say that because you said this in your review. If you're looking for puzzles and, quick time events or gameplay mechanics that you learn and then manipulate, this game doesn't have any of that.
Right, yeah.
Nope.
And you should go into this game understanding what it is. This game
absolutely.
is a narrative, story-driven experience that you walk through. You'll never, be tested or tried in terms of gameplay. It's strictly just about you playing this dude and some stuff happens to him and you decide how he handles it.
It's like every game.
Whether
play a
he's
dude
angry
and
or
some stuff happens.
Some stuff happens.
Yeah.
You play a dude.
the stuff is like deeper in this game.
It is beautiful, and so I do want to compliment like how gorgeous it is. It's very thought provoking and interesting, but it's not for everyone.
Yeah.
And
Like,
if that's
have appropriate expectations.
that's
kind of.
right.
Yeah.
If you like those types of games, if you like Everybody's Gone to the Rapture,
Yeah, I mean,
or
just be ready for that kind of experience.
That's
Because,
right.
I mean, even if you played a bunch of Telltale adventure games, this game doesn't even have the quick time events you would normally find in those types of games.
Yeah.
It really is a very deliberately paced, kind of a slow burn. Sorry.
No.
I can't help myself.
Keep going.
Apparently.
Keep going.
And even though, I mean, there's actually a really interesting conversation you could have about player agency in this game and how much of an impact you have, but then you're really getting into spoiler territory. So I'll just say that I took a little more time with it. My first playthrough lasted about 7 hours because I really just wandered through and enjoyed the world and soaked everything in. And I feel like I really got a lot out of it. Even though the central mystery, again, doesn't really build up, I think that the process of building the relationship between Henry and Delilah, the two main characters of the game, it was, again, just something I've never really experienced anywhere else, in a game or anywhere. And it was truly beautiful and truly unique. And for me, that makes it absolutely worthwhile. And I'm also, generally inclined to be like, hey, this is a passion project. This was, a smaller team doing something really cool. And I think that's, in my mind, commendable. I'm not going to tell it, like, rush out and buy it right now. But I mean, as far as things you can spend your money on, this seems like a pretty good one to me.
Yeah, a lot of reasons to recommend it. Scott Butterworth, thank you so much for coming in.
Absolutely.
7 out of 10 on GameSpot.com. Folks can go read that review. If they so wish to. And watch it as well. We got a 1 minute review.
We got a 1 minute review on Facebook. Cool. We didn't want to do the full review we normally do because
we barely talked about it for 10 minutes without spoiling stuff.
Yeah, exactly. It's so, like, you couldn't show much of that game without spoiling everything. So we didn't do a full review, just the 1 minute. But it's on Facebook, so go watch that.
And it's also spoiler free. Yeah,
yes,
it's good.
super
It's completely clean.
Awesome.
Go for it.
All right, Scott, thanks so much. Mary, you stick around because we're going to talk about Darkest Dungeon in a second.